is this the beginning of the bear market? So 2 days ago, we had the biggest liquidation ever. I've been here since 6 years ago, more or less, 6, 7. And I've never seen a day with so many people losing all their money. To have an idea, when there was the Luna collapse, there was a 3 billion liquidation. This time around was around 20, and some people say that was actually bigger than that, could be even 3, 4 times bigger. So it was a terrible day for many of us. Thank God, in my case and the people I work with, 90% of our portfolio is always spot, because I know that maybe twice a year you have events like this where you get liquidated. Even if you were with 2x leverage, you lost all your money. So that's why I always recommend to have 90% of your money spot in case this happens. Prices are going to rebound, especially if you are invested in good assets. Because if you are 50% of your portfolio in trading, chances are that you could have an event like this that wipes out maybe years of accumulation of trading with one day that changes everything. So 90 billion crypto crash. Today we're already bouncing. Is this the beginning of the bear market? I don't think so at all. I still think this is not a high. So we had the crash at the beginning. Many of us thought was because of the tariff tweet from Trump. But to be honest, I think something deeper than that happened. I think from what I've seen, could have been an attack on Binance. Also, you had ETH and the stablecoin losing the peg on Binance, even if some people said that it didn't lose. But on Binance, I think ETH stablecoin, one of the most promising projects, went to 65 cents and should be 101, of course, with the dollar. But today we're already rebounding. This can be also a really good opportunity to buy. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the projects I've been buying. Some of you already may know that. So big crash. You had coins like Atom went to zero. Sui went from $3 to 50 cents. Aave to 80. Solana actually held it pretty well. Hype went to $20. Dogecoin to 0.0095. So insane. Never seen a day where projects collapsed in this way so fast. In a span of 10 minutes, you have some of the best projects, like Sui, for example, going from $3 to 50 cents. Tau went to 130 in some exchanges, even if it's bouncing the hardest at the moment. But yeah, it was an insane day, and also made me really comfortable in being in spot, because if I was trading with a lot of leverage, even if I was with 5-10%, I would have lost it all. I wasn't at that time, but even if it was 5%, it's recoverable. If you lose all of it, even if it's recoverable on the long term, at the beginning it's really, really tough. But I don't think this is the top of the bull market, and this is why. So let's start with Bitcoin. So if you look at M2 that tracks liquidity across the globe, you clearly can see that on the long horizon, Bitcoin follows global M2. So global M2 in this case, as you can see, running hard from here. Still didn't think we've seen a top for global M2. There is a lagging period for Bitcoin of 3 to 6 months for this. So we could see 200K maybe around end of this year. I still think the bull market is intact. For me, where things change is if Bitcoin starts to lose 100K and it can't recover that, that might be a sign that the top is in. But at the same time, you don't have tops when retail is not here. There is no euphoria. There is no people buying absolutely shit coins. So until you have these signs of retail coming and really craziness on the markets, I don't think there is any sign. And even if you look at Google search and stuff like that, altcoins are at the lowest, and even Bitcoin is not being searched too much. So I don't think this is the top. If you look from a technical analysis standpoint, we are still in a range. So the range that we are currently is between 122 and 107. So Bitcoin came into the 200 MA moving average. Currently we are above the 50 moving average, is really important, and above the mid range. So really important level for Bitcoin is to hold 112 to 114. If we can start again going here, I think actually going to make new all-time highs, because after all this bloodbath, if Bitcoin can actually hold above 115 first and then target again the highs, I think is a pretty good sign for BTC. And remember, I think it was around 60 billion of open interest was wiped out, longs and shorts. So again, we have a clean system. There is not too much leverage in crypto at the moment, so we could have also a pretty good bounce. Still waiting, still in range bound below 107. There is some potential to go actually even below 100k. Some reasons for concern, but below, as long as we are above 115k, actually price is still bullish. Bitcoin still looks good, still at 115k. We are 10% from all-time highs, so definitely I still don't see a sign, even if many people said this was the top, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. At least there is no sign for that yet. Also, another important thing to look at is the Bitcoin power law. That again, if we look at this on the monthly, let's look to this one. You clearly can see that, of course, it doesn't have to happen the same way, but every single bull market, we went to the top of the band. 21, 14, 17, 21 as well. Look at this, we touched the orange line and then came down. Even if we don't reach the orange line, which would be around 220k, I still think between 130 and 170, 150 is where Bitcoin will go at least. So I still don't see signs of a bear market. Interest rates are still very high, still very difficult to borrow money. So also, if you look at the past cycles, we only had alt season when interest rates were low and the Federal Reserve was doing quantitative easing. At the moment, we are doing quantitative tightening. They are still selling bonds. They are still taking money out of the system. So still nothing fundamentally changed for altcoins. So I don't think this is the top. Another thing that happened, Bitcoin dominance, of course, went to the roof, 63 during that big crash, but again, came down, which shows that some altcoins and some really good projects might actually start outperforming Bitcoin now. And one of those is Tau is outperforming big time Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment. I think Hyperliquid during this crash of all the exchanges was the one that held the best. Zero downtime, very flawless. So definitely I'm even more bullish on Hyperliquid now after what happened. Very transparent, everything could be seen on chain. So definitely the future of centralized exchanges is Hyperliquid. I think much better than Binance and Coinbase and all those centralized exchanges. I think they will be here, but I think Hype is going to gain massive market share. So in terms of Bitcoin dominance, we can see that the top last cycle was around 70. I think this cycle was around 65. I don't think we go above 66. That would be a bad sign. So still we have at least, I would say, a drop of 17% around the 50 MA. And best case scenario, this would be really good for altcoins, would be a crash to 40% to 39. That would be a really good level to go for altcoins. And of course, if this happens, it means that we make 5-10x easy on some of the coins, not all of them. Another important thing is Bitcoin against gold. So as you may know, gold has been doing very, very well, even better than the stock market. Crazy, because of all the wars, all the uncertainty, all the rumors of a third world war. But we are getting to a really good demand zone of Bitcoin against gold. As you can see, the last few times that Bitcoin came into extreme lows on the momentum indicator, we had pretty good bounces. And again, we are getting to a really key level. So if Bitcoin is going to outperform gold, which I think it will massively, I think it's very soon. At least from a demand standpoint, we are getting to a really good level. Okay, now let's look at Ethereum, the king of alts. So Ethereum also had a really good bounce. So as you can see, also range bound, we had one deviation again. So for Ethereum, it's important to come to close above 4K and recover again the mid-range around 4,500. Ethereum came into this really good demand zone around 3,500. So overall, Ethereum still held it pretty well compared to other assets. Ethereum dominance still at 12%. And another important thing is, trend-wise, Ethereum is starting to lose a bit of power against Bitcoin. So we made a higher high here, and since then we are making lower lows and lower highs. So until Ethereum breaks above 0.038, we are starting to form a downtrend. Also, if you look at the 12 and 21 exponential moving averages, which is not showing here for some reason. Let me go to Ethereum chart as well. So this is not working for some reason. Let me take this. Yeah. So we are below the 12 and 21, which is really important when you want to see if the price action is strong. So for Ethereum, needs to close above 4,400. Chart-wise, starting to lose some strength against Bitcoin, but still doesn't look bad. Still, again, in the previous range. Solana 192. I think Solana is really undervalued, to be honest. I think it's much better than Ethereum. Of all the layer ones, I think is the one, along with Sui, even if Sui price action wise still not showing that's too much strength and went to 50 cents from $3, which is a bit strange. But Solana definitely, I think, is the one that is positioned to even surpass Ethereum. So Solana looks good. From accumulation standpoint, came really close to this demand zone between 171 and 156. If it comes here again, another really good buy. Now let's look at Tau. Tau has been the strongest altcoin in the market at the moment. Also because of Grayscale, which is one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. They had like 30 billion worth of assets, and they are massively bullish on Tau because of Barry Silbert, the founder. Even in his bio, you can see that he's a really big fan of Tau and the ideas behind Tau. So I think this is a project that is going to run the hardest in the next 2 years. Decentralized AI will be a big narrative. And as you can see, Tau is showing tremendous strength. So came into this supply zone on the daily above 500 is where Tau becomes really bullish. It's already looking bullish. Let's see if for the next few days we can close above 460. That would be a really important level, and also close above the mid-range 400. Above 500, this is going to fly to new all-time highs. And yeah, so far it's looking very good for Tau. So if you look at Tau against Bitcoin, for the first time in a while, we are breaking the trend. Came into a weekly demand zone. Tau against Ethereum, also touching the 12 and 21 EMAs. Came into this level. I told to my VIP members this would be a good level to accumulate Tau against Ethereum. So we came into a weekly demand zone. So far, we are breaking out, especially if you look on the daily, clear breakout of trend. So I think at least we go to the mid-range around here. So Tau looking good. Now let's look at Hyperliquid, another of my biggest bets, especially after what happened. I think definitely the future is decentralized exchanges. So Hype came into this demand zone at $21. Between 40 and 30, I think is really good to accumulate. Low 40s where we are now, and 30. That for long term, I think it's going to be a 10x. So Hype also, I think, is one of the best use cases in crypto. I don't see any other projects other than Tau, Solana, that actually have as much usage as Hype. So Hype is a decentralized exchange, Tau decentralized AI, Solana for payments, for smart contracts, really cheap, very fast. So definitely those are the three projects I'm most bullish on. Another one that is gaining a lot of momentum is Zcash. I understand how important private money is. I don't like to buy after such a big rush. If this has a decent correction, maybe, I don't know, some 30% correction, I might accumulate some Zcash, as I see very, very smart people behind the scenes on this. But this is at weekly supply. So I'm not a fan as a trader to buy this after such a big run. If this has a correction, is another project under my attention, as I understand that this could be the private Bitcoin. So Zcash is just Bitcoin, but private. And privacy, especially nowadays with AI, it's really, really important. So I understand the narrative behind Zcash. And that's it. Sui, let's see if it can bounce from here. Had a massive, as you can see here, went to 50 cents. Let's see if it can rebound from here. I still think Sui is a great project. Let's see the next few days how it works. But overall, I'm still bullish in a few cryptos. Tau, Hype, Solana, Sui, Zcash also looks interesting. Chainlink, Ethena. After what happened, also I'm a bit scared because of the Luna collapse. So the Ethena stablecoin lost its peg on Binance, but some people said actually it was a problem of Binance, not Ethena itself. So let's see if that's true or not. But definitely, even if it's a project with a lot of potential, I'll be a bit careful there too. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much.